Right folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the wild countryside of Scotland. And today I'm following this old farm track into what I believe looks like an old abandoned farm and possibly an abandoned farmhouse. So I just thought I would come and head in here and just see what we can see. Last year I was here with the channel DJ and we explored around this old quarry area, but we never actually went over to the house. So I thought today we'll just take a stroll over there and just see if it is abandoned and just see if there is potential here for a cool little adventure documenting a piece of abandoned Scottish history. And if it is an abandoned farmhouse, it looks absolutely massive from here folks. So let's get into this adventure. Check this out folks, I've come round the side of the farm buildings heading towards what must be the house. Wow, it's so overgrown. I can see remains here of an old outbuilding which has been at a circular shape, and this is what all farms had, and they would have had a cow or a horse or whatever inside this building here, turning the mechanism to power a mill, which must have been inside that shed, and it's all gone now unfortunately. Look, I can see the first remains here of the old farm shed. Wow folks, this is crazy. It's so overgrown. Because it's so overgrown at this side of the shed, I'm going to try and make my way up the other side. There is a current house nearby here, so I was just trying to stay out of the way of it. Here we go folks, check this out. Just as I thought, an old abandoned farmhouse, ready to be explored. Wow, I just love coming and finding places that I've never seen before, never documented. And this must have been the main farmhouse here at a certain time for this farm. A lot of times with Scottish farms like this, they were bought over and taken over by bigger farms in the local area, and all the small farmland was put into one big section. Anyway, let's head on in here and see what we can see. Wow, little remains of the history. Look how rotten that roof is. That just shows you videos like this can often be the last remains of the history. Wow, let's head on through here folks. Look, a little ladder. Obviously to the landowner and the house owner will always come with the greatest respects. I'm just literally documenting the history that's on show here. It gives people from all over the world an idea of country life at a certain time in Scotland here. Look at this room here goes up a couple of steps. Wow. Check out the way the wallpaper's peeling off the walls. Every abandoned house I go in has just got such a different character. Look at the old fireplace. They're often all at different levels of decay. It's crazy the way the spider webs often take over at the windows and all through the buildings. Somebody's been in here drinking some Russian vodka folks. So this must have been like a living room. If not, maybe a bedroom. It's an unusually shaped house this. It's unusual with this being at a different height here. Wow, this is so cool folks. Yeah, the floor here is proper rotten. Wow, look at this here, this is cool. I love all these fires with the little tiles and stuff around them. You can just imagine the family at one time sitting around here getting a heat. Maybe speaking about their day's activities on the farm. From here you would have probably heard the hustle and bustle from the farm and noise of the animals. Maybe the cows mooing in the sheds. Maybe the noise of the old vintage tractor coming up the farm road from the market. Yeah, I'm not sure if this house has been changed and redeveloped at a certain time, because it's almost like an original lobby would have gone through that way. Past this room here. Wow, look at this, the wee kitchen. The cooker and stuff's all still here. Look, the door's been painted with some cool artwork. And look at the old light switch there, the old Bakelite light switch. This is what I love to see. Look, there's a wee serving hatch. So that must most likely be the dining room through there. Shows the thickness of the walls in these old houses, like, that's like 3 foot thick almost. It's just a standard little house here. The little cupboard, which must have had the kitchen items in it. Maybe the marmalade and other such like things. Yeah, this cooker doesn't even look that old. Look, somebody's been proper cooking recently by the looks of things. Wow, and then here we go, folks. The mirror's not even broken, it just shows the level of vandalism on places like this. It's minimal. That's how I'm not giving away the exact location of it. And it's cool to save these places as little time capsules of Scottish history. Like, you can see the old wallpaper behind. With the old Bakelite light switch, wow. Oh look, here's the old meter here, folks. Check this out, the old pound meter. I remember I saw stuff like that when I was in the abandoned houses at Fife years ago. Wow, I'm being super careful with the floor here, folks. Wow, look, there's just more rooms galore. Yeah, this is almost like another one of these bedrooms. They're all so big. The bedrooms are the size of sitting rooms, it's hard to even tell what was what. Check out this old fireplace, I love the way these tiles and stuff's shaped. It's almost like 1950s or 60s, but it's like somebody's been in this house, maybe living in this house even in the 80s and stuff like that. To be honest with you, the house is in pretty good condition, really. It looks like the small sections of the roof which are like kaput, but apart from that, it's like in pretty good condition. Look, the missing tiles from the fire's been put there. Yeah, this must be the original front door, like porch there. Check it out, folks, years of decay. It's crazy to me that I keep finding so much abandoned history that you've never seen before on the channel. Every week, fresh locations. I always think like, I'm going to run out of places to go, and then boom, more history just like pops out at me. This is the serving hatch here, like from the dining room through. So you can imagine maybe the family sitting here with their meal, which had been passed through here. Maybe the bowl of stovies was coming through there. Look at these unusual tiles at the side. You can see how much debris has been put in there. Often it's like crows and stuff that nest in the chimneys. Every year a little bits more just like fall down and down. And look at the old wallpaper behind there. You get an idea of the pattern. Just check it out, the curtains are still hanging. There's some mad like dampness. Oh, there's been birds nesting in the corner there. The old white curtains still hang with old curtain tops. Crazy scenes, folks. It's been so cool that I've been able to come and document this though. Like I say, it blows my mind. There's so much all around. Look at that, it's a different style of Bakelite light switch. Switches like that were most likely 60s and 70s and stuff like that. Yeah, that's almost been like a wee washroom there. Or maybe like washing machines or other stuff like that. You can see how overgrown it is there in front of the door. That's the level of decay we're dealing with at a property like this. I can see the old washing line and stuff's out there as well. Yeah, the height of that bushes outside is just crazy, trying to battle through it. There's like brambles and stuff all mixed through. Yeah, so this has been a single story little farmhouse of its era. Look, it's got a wee railing round here. So that shows maybe the old farm family that lived here that were becoming elderly by the last days. It's just the shape of these things is unusual. I think that's when electricity's been added into the house. You can see these conduits on the outside of the original walls, and they lead through every room. Oh look, that conduit actually leads through here, folks. That goes to show it's the water pipes that's within there. Look, the tank and stuff's already gone. You can actually see here, look, before this hot water system was fitted, there's the original cupboard front. And look, the original wall of the room's been there. So that shows it's been updated and changed. Originally that must have just been a little corner shelf. See, a lot of the countryside houses were heated from the fire. There's like a tank behind it or a boiler. And that was how they got their hot water. But then if the fire wasn't lit, like in the summer, they had a switch here. They could switch on the electricity to heat the water. So it was like a dual purpose kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's all the rooms in this house. Even though it looks like quite a big house from the outside, it's a small layout. It's got a small kind of footprint, as you would say, even though it's got all those bedrooms. Anyway, let's head on through, folks. Look, the doorbell's actually been part of the door. This is the front door, which now lies here, abandoned and decayed. Just think about the people that may have at one time walked in here after their hard day's work on the farm. Yeah, it's like this whole section here has actually been added on to the front of the house. Which means the original access to this room here. It's hard to really lay your finger on it. I was just trying to imagine the original layout of this house. So many years have passed though, it's just hard. It's been cool to see what we've seen. Look at the electricity cables up there coming through the roof. It's got those old cables that are twisted together. I think I just heard somebody coughing outside. I was sure I just heard somebody coughing, folks. Oh, look here, it's got this little outbuilding. Wow, look how worn that stair is, folks. Yeah, this is like an old bothy, wow. See, this is more like how the house would have been originally, before it got renovated. See, this is like how the old fireplaces used to be in some of the old houses I visit. This has almost been like a bothy, maybe the cattlemen or whatever lived here. Like you can see the stone floor as well. This is all how Scottish houses were. It's almost like the old house here with the new one. You get an essence of how it was and then how it was changed. Look at the old window. Wow. See the character of that window even, folks. That's what I just love about these adventures. You just see so much. Check out that there. Crazy, folks. And see this here as well. A lot of walls was like this in Scottish houses where it's like the rough stone and then they would have like this on the top, which is like lath and plaster. You can see the wooden laths that were screwed onto like the wood between the things. They would screw the wood in like that. The laths were connected to that and then the plaster was smeared on the top. So that's been a cool little detail there of this place basically. But yeah, that's so incredible. See the ancient history of this. The stairs have been so worn that they've actually cemented this top one to level it up. But that's because back in the day they used to have like tackety baits they were called. It was actual boots with metal studs chapped into the soles. And when your studs and your soles wore, you just chapped fresh ones in. So like you could almost service your boots originally back in the day. Yeah, it's had like oil heating or something fitted at a later time. Wow, I just can't believe the wear on that step though, folks. That's often part of the picture of the history getting painted right there. And this must have been their garage. I'm interested to go and look in that building because that looks like it's been some sort of old mill. I can hear the wind blowing some of the old metal doors here. Makes for an eerie vibe. Check this out, folks. What has this been? Oh, it's been like this. Wow. What even is this, folks? I thought it was their garage. But look, this has been a little blacksmith shop here. It's got the big furnace at the end. Wow. Is that a proper furnace there? A proper burner. So I'm wondering if there's been maybe a blacksmith shop or something, or... Yeah, look at this. It's still all fully like wooden lined. A lot of the buildings in Scotland used to be wooden lined on the inside like that as well, even before the days of the lath and plaster, because it was a way of insulating the building and making it a little bit warmer. I've just noticed there's a second outlet straight up, as well as that one there. Wow. See, some old wash houses had like a boiler where they would boil the clothes, but I'm not sure with this. It's definitely not from an ancient time though, from what I'm seeing. 70s or 80s maybe. I wonder if there has been maybe a blacksmith or something working in here back in those days. There's some interesting literature as well on the floors, folks. I'll not pan too far down on that one. Check it out, folks. Old literature right here. Magazines that some youths had, or maybe the husbands had that out in the garage at a certain time on the lowdown. What a place though, folks. Let's push on with this adventure. See what else we can see. Just look at this for a crazy angle of history right here. Wow. A scene like that, it's just so beautiful. It's got its own type of beauty, that the way it's degraded and decayed, the way it all just falls down. See these windows, that was where at one time the farmer would have gone, and there would have been feeding troughs at the other side, and he could have easily come along and thrown food through those windows at that height. So the troughs may have been at this side or that side, but that was what often that was at farms. What a place it's been though, folks. I've just absolutely loved seeing what we've seen. I'll head up the side of this before we go and look at this last building here. I'll see if there's anything interesting just like round the corner here. I'm just keeping this rolling though once again, folks. So if I get chased, you're along on this adventure with me. Yeah, that's been an interesting bit there, the furnace at the back. Who would even know what it's been? There's that old window. We're now around the back of the house. Yeah, it looks like it's mostly just wild kind of ground around here. That's where the washing line and stuff had been. I'm just going to have a wee look here. Looks like there's a fair old drop in the ground. Look at this here. This must have been some way that they collected the ash or something for the burner. Oh, that's been up there on the wall. There's been 2 outlets, which is unusual. For the chimney. Oh, this is an old midden here. Look at the way that old oak tree is. The roots just look crazy. Anyway, folks, I'm wanting to head round to this other building. I love the shape of this and the way the stones is. From the character of that, you can see why I wanted to explore it when I could see it in the distance. I just thought I would just love to go and see what is inside a place like that, if it's open. Sometimes on these adventures I walk miles into a location and you just can't get in, but that's just part of the fun, not knowing if you're going to see any history or what. And then what has this building been? It's like an old mill shed or something. can see here it's had old steps, which are totally fallen down. The door has been up there. And there's old like mechanisms of history here. It's just so fully kaput. It's almost like unreal. Wow, look at that floor in there, folks. The whole place is shot out. But it was worth recording. This must have been one of their buildings, I'm not sure for what. Maybe like something to do with the farm operations. I'm getting absolutely torn to shreds here from these bushes, folks. It's almost unpassable here. It's hard. Ah, I've got thorns in my hand, look at that. I don't know if that comes out in the video. Yeah, so there's really no much to see in there apart from the rotten floor and that. Another detail, you can actually see there's been a door here in the early days. It's been a double door with like a loft above it. And then at a later time it's been changed. So the door to the bottom bit's been at the side. Interesting, because that'll be history from way back, 1700s. Buildings like that's probably some of the original farm buildings here at the site. Whereas these other ones will have been added on at a later time. Probably well into the mid 1900s. But yeah, it's been a big place at one time. It's been so cool to explore today. Adventures like this, they're just like out of the blue. Sometimes I think, oh, I better not go up there again. And then once you get there, it's like boom, history just everywhere. Little nuggets of Scottish farm history, or even countryside life here in Scotland. You get an essence of the sort of houses that people lived in for a lot of years. And with what I'm seeing with that house, it would still be a pretty good house. It's needing minor renovations and stuff, but you could probably almost move straight in. The worst bit of the roof seemed to be that bit which was added on. The majority of the roof's actually the majority of the roof's actually in good condition. See this here, there's been actually like a Dutch barn here. It's had the old telephone poles with most likely a tin roof there which was blown away. Yeah, it looks like this farm has probably stopped being used in the 70s or whatever. It's got that look to it. Wow, this is like some bit of waste ground, maybe a bit of a midden as well at a certain time. I can see actual piles of stuff here. I'm not sure if it's been stones or maybe even older farm buildings which were further down this way. It's quite cool though. Now the sun's coming up. It's been a while since we've had a nice sunny day here in Scotland. It's still cold wintry conditions and it's 3 degrees Celsius today. But it's been ace, been able to record what we've seen. Yeah, it's another abandoned location ticked off the list. I'm always like blown away, there's so much. I say it a lot in my videos, but oh, look at this. This could be an old well. Look at it. It's been marked off here with these cones. It's a deep, deep hole here. Most estates and farms at a certain time actually had a well, and that was where they would have gotten like the source of their water. They quite often would pump it like to the farm or to their house from the well. A lot of them had like an old stationary engine with like a cast iron, kind of the big pumps that would pump it. Because I know there's like old wells and stuff at some estates where they pour in trailer loads of stones and stuff every year and they just keep disappearing down and down. Almost like a big sinkhole. Another interesting thing with this farm here, folks, it's bordering this massive old quarry. And I'm sure, when I was here with the channel DJ, I don't think we ever uploaded the video, even though I had a wee explore here. Sometimes I do that, like, because I was intending on coming back and exploring the house. I didn't want to give away the location, miss out on the opportunity for the explorer. So I never even uploaded half the adventure when we were in this quarry. So I could go and have a look, because there's actually some interesting stuff at the top. Mark 1 Ford Transit and stuff like that, folks. You can see here how the ground's been all dug out and changed at a certain time. It's been a massive quarry, and then after that it's been turned into a midden. See, a midden is the Scottish word for like a dump, and every farm had a midden. Even some old houses had a midden, especially big houses. But this kind of gives you an idea of what a midden would have looked like. They'll just tip loads and loads of stuff, and probably if you dug down deep enough, there would be like some interesting artifacts of history below it all. Look at this big stone here. It's a big chunk of cement. Check that out. Yeah, so maybe originally when this was in its quarry days, there was maybe little quarry huts or little buildings to control the quarry operations. Check out old wheels and stuff like that. The craziest of scenes, folks. It's not only abandoned farm history, but now we're seeing an abandoned quarry of all things. Like, you just never know where the adventure's about to go. I can see the wee Kia chilling at the road end out there. Judging from what I'm seeing, there's not been any vehicles out in here for a very long time. That was how I just parked at the road end, basically. Sometimes on these adventures I had to park like a couple of miles away just to get access to the places. Yeah, all this big pile in front of us, right? It's been tipped down the hill. But the interesting thing with this pile here, there's some old like vintage cars and stuff in the middle of it. Like the old Mark 1 Transit that I can remember was here. Wow, see this, folks, this quarry's been here so long. Like, this tree has grown up through the middle of all this tin. Look at it, there's some big chunks, maybe a bit of an old like car roof or whatever. I suppose this is even thicker than a car roof. Maybe it could have been an old tanks or like water tanks, oil tanks. Everywhere underfoot here is just remains of history, folks. Look at that, there's just buckets everywhere and stuff sticking up. And these massive mounds will be the spoil heaps. I'm not sure if this was like a gravel quarry or what. It looks most likely to have been a gravel quarry because I'm not seeing like any bedrock seams or that sticking out of the ground. So this is mind blowing, folks. See the amount of stuff here that's been dumped, all sorts of stuff. But look, here's an interesting thing that I hadn't seen before at this quarry. Look, we found a bedrock seam. So that shows this may have been a stone quarry where they were taking stones out for buildings and stuff. But it might just look kind of like there's no stone here because of the amount of backfill that's been put in and probably the amount of years it's passed since this was a thriving quarry. And there's just stuff here of all sorts, all shapes and sizes of stuff from all over the years. I'm not sure if this was like a council tip or if it was just like a farm tip. There's no way I could even climb through here because there's so much stuff. But I'm sure there is, within here somewhere, there's a Ford Transit. I'm going to try and find it. Mark 1 Ford Transit front end. So when I come into a low bit like this, it really gives me an idea of how deep this quarry must have been. And right enough, around the outside edge, I'm seeing the bedrock that I was thinking. It must have been a stone quarry. They've been digging and blasting down into that and digging it out. And so many years has passed, that's how, now it just looks like an earthy gravel quarry. Yeah, I'm going to go up here because this is the actual transit van here. Wow, it's in pretty bad condition now, I'm seeing it again. Wow, this is so cool, folks. Oh look, the old phone number's still on it. Some of the viewers might have actually seen this van driving about. It's like back in the day. It looks like it said A, whatever that says. Is it A70 scaffolding? (0167), so that shows that's before the numbers were changed, before more numbers was added in. That is crazy, folks. The front end of that transit, it's just there. I'm going to try and get in the other side so I can actually see the dash and stuff like that, which is still in there. Yeah, this is mad, folks. Standing on a pile of history here. proper fence wire here. I'm getting caught in the fence wire, folks. Yes, we've made it. Check it out. That's inside the old transit. Just think, somebody was fleeing about in that, making their ironing at one time. Look, their interior light's been disconnected there. It's hard to even tell it is a Ford Transit, but wow, the engine stuff's gone. Maybe a 2-litre Pinto. Look, you can see the Ford on the old wiper motor. Yeah, I'm thinking I was imagining it was a Mark 1 Ford Transit, but now I'm seeing it, I'm thinking it's a Mark 2. Could be a Mark 2 Transit. But yeah, that's been cool just to see this little nugget of history at the end of that cool abandoned house adventure. It just shows what's on your doorstep. An interesting old farm history, and then the details with this old quarry. Probably a stone quarry, which has then been turned into a local dump, a local tip, because there's so much stuff in there. That's been years and years of people dumping in there. Look at these snowdrops. It's a beautiful display for springtime, folks. It's just about the end of these cold winter adventures where it's like ice cold, bitter winds. Wow, I've just absolutely loved that today. We've seen so much that we've never seen before on the channel, and that's just what I love. Adventures into the unknown and just documenting new things, new wee bits of history. Yeah, it's amazing that there's so much out there. I like to do multiple videos a week, but also I like the fresh content, so when I keep on finding stuff like that, it's so special. I was noticing that almost looked like an old headstone or something from a distance, but I think it's just years and years of, like, maybe the builder or the scaffolder who owned that van, maybe he was allowed to be dumping here at a certain time. There's that deep hole. They must have been properly digging. I reckon this whole area here has been backfilled. Okay, and that's a proper deep hole, probably like 60 to 80 foot deep. So it would probably be quite amazing what you would find if you just started digging down underfoot in a place like this. It's just an absolute madness. That's me back at the main road though now. This would have been the original perimeter wall to what must have been a thriving quarry at one time. It was maybe so old that it was like horse and carts that was coming out and in of there to collect the stone. Either that or the old trucks were maybe going in and out, getting loaded up, and then at a later time there would have been trucks and stuff bringing the litter in. It's crazy with a site like this to take so much away and then at a later time again it gets filled back up again with like debris and stuff. Here's an interesting point, folks. This will be the original wall here, and as you can see it is made from that rough big chunks of sandstone, and these chunks of sandstone will have been bits left over from the quarry for sure, because it's got that rough quarry kind of off-cut look to it. All those stones there. Anyway folks, that's me just about back at my car. It's been a cool adventure. We've seen so much with like that house and farm history and even this old quarry. But I'm going to end this one here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with my next adventure, wherever I end up going.